Welcome to
Unfiltered Growth.
Real Talk on Trends and Strategies. This podcast is your weekly dose of reality-checked wisdom
As we explore the intersection of entrepreneurship, marketing, culture, business, and innovation.
We strip away the BS and dive into real challenges and opportunities for revenue growth.
With a sharp, unfiltered lens.
Expect raw conversations, real success,
and failure stories.
And practical advice that you can apply to your journey.
No filters.
Just growth.
I'm wondering if we should this should be like the segment where we drop the T part. I have one ready to go to read. I won't name the person.
Go ahead.
But I think it's reflective of what we're talking about. This is very recent. This happened like a few hours before we came on live over here. This is a woman, an immigrant woman. I want to premise, but that is the reason why I'm acknowledging that. She was let go from a pretty well-known organization that we all know and use every day. And whilst being 6 months pregnant in the midst of her green card process. And so she is now navigating where I don't even have the time to do what many people do. And they go on LinkedIn and thank everyone or whatever, or they post, no, there's a sense of urgency in this reality of like, hey, I need a new job. I got let go for unknown reasons that don't seem to be alignment. I was led on choosing this path. And now this doesn't just talk about women, but the navigation of what are your policies behind when they get pregnant? What are your policies for maternity leave and paternity leave? Like, what are your policies for that? What are your thoughts on that? People care. And brands just think we hire and that's enough. How are you sustaining and maintaining, your employees? And what is that reflective of your buyers? There's a lot of people who are buying your product or service who also may be pregnant, who also may be in that exact scenario or know what that feels like. And you created that for someone who helped your business grow. How dare you? Now I may not choose to lose your business. So anyway, this person is navigating this and did a very long post about it and expressing, I'll read this part. As a pregnant immigrant woman, I've been denied the luxury of wallowing in hurt or desperation. I just don't have time for that. Instead, I turn to LinkedIn to share guidance, advice, and perhaps even opportunities over the next 3 months to get me back on track. One, I wish that person, success and that people will come to her aid, but also acknowledge there's so many other stories that don't even have the ability to share their story and it be received because people think people of color, women, underrepresented communities is something you did. You had to did something wrong. Oh, you couldn't be let go because of racial undertones or prejudice or other isms that people don't want to talk about or deny because they themselves don't have that same struggle or affinity to. But those are real things that are happening in real time that people aren't talking about. And this comes down to, that's a reflection of your culture. That's a reflection of your leadership, whether you know it or not. And I think this is why we want to have these conversations, because when we're talking about things being unfiltered and trying to grow, and you said this, we did an interview recently with Dots, and you said it so perfectly. Most people are not focused on retention and churn percentages, not only just in their product or service they sell, but in the employees that they have. And that is immediately reflective of the culture that you distribute, that you articulate and give out. So I will shut up and let you have your thoughts on it. But I'm just full today, y'all.
Yeah, you are good. When you talk about churn and customer retention, it's such a reflection also, not just on your product, but your people too, let's just be honest. But if you're noticing that your churn is just crazy, 9 times out of 10, people are blaming CS. But you know what you really need to blame? Executives and people who have that strategic vision of who the BDRs and SDRs are targeting, your ICP, because it might not be a good fit. So you might have to do a complete audit to see if you're even on the right path. And times change, people change, needs change, urgency changes. So you need to keep that always going and looking at the data to see if it still aligns. And another point to your story about the LinkedIn post from today is companies' knowledge of, and because this is a straight alignment with productivity and just happiness, because people with disabilities, sometimes they need accommodations, and managers, leaders need to know that that's the thing. But 9 times out of 10, I keep saying that all the time today, people are too scared to say that they need that because they're too scared of getting let go or fired for an unknown reason. But if you really want to get into that, that's illegal, because especially if they have like a documented ADA and they've talked about that with HR and to the personnel. So you have to think about those things when you are talking to prospects, because you don't know what they're going through. And with that, I have a story of there was a company I was working for, and my friend was getting yelled at because he wasn't calling at because he had certain states. His territory was like certain states. And this was around the this was 2019, 2020, like 2020, when there was a lot of riots going around in big cities, and a lot of big cities were getting just a lot. There was a lot of upset people for it was legit reasons to be upset. And him being mixed, but he's passing white, said to his boss, "I'm not calling." And he's like, "Why not?" And he said, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, I wouldn't know that you like really cared about that." Chirps. What? He's like, "So I have to look a certain way to care about that?" You have to be careful with how you talk to people you work with, especially when those are customer facing. And you have to be also careful about saying things because you don't know someone's story. You don't know those things. So when you are posting on social, when you're creating marketing campaigns that you have the heart to be have it to be a diversity-led type of conversations, don't look like and I hate saying this, the white savior. You have to truly know what's going on and believe and help and just create that conversation, create that open, unfiltered conversation and community, not we're here to save and we're going to change our logo to be black for this month. We're going to change our logo to be rainbow this month. That ain't shit. I'm sorry, pardon my French, but you're not doing it. You're not getting the point, and you're not getting our point of the diversity-led movement that needs to happen.
And let's just keep it a buck. I mean, most people who are in these roles leading, they haven't had the experience. They haven't been in the environment. They don't even look at the world that way. I won't say it, but I wish I had for a week the privilege of others in a certain way. You know where I'm coming at. It wouldn't take long. I tell you right now, but I don't have that luxury. That doesn't mean I'm less than. If anything, that probably makes us better because we're still able to navigate with those additional things on our back, and we still show up and we play the game. We know how the game is played. That don't mean the game is right. That don't mean the rules are fair. I wish the rules, let's acknowledge and not be just negative Nancy's. There has been change. Is it enough change? No. And us saying that shouldn't be like, you ungrateful. I'm like, if y'all want to go there, I can say, well, like 400 years ago, Troy wouldn't even be able to be on this mic right now. That seemed like a long time ago, but it isn't. I mean, civil rights was just how long ago? I mean, can we be real? I mean, now we're seeing, it's almost like we acknowledge in sports when there's a woman athlete breaking barriers, a minority athlete,
or like a woman
barriers.
Coach.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yes. And they are successful in business. Oh my goodness. Why did we wait so long? Yes. Why did you wait so long? Why? Because we're not having the conversations. And ultimately, if you aren't equipped, this is no shade. Ask for folk who are equipped to come in and help you transition and transform to a more inclusive business that has a more dynamic culture. So you can not only bring on better talent, but drive better businesses. And it's not about, here's all the things you're doing wrong. I'm sure you're not doing every single thing wrong in your business and in your marketing campaigns, but you can be better. We can always optimize for better. And I always say, audience dictates direction. Oh, so much has changed. What is going on? Everything's different. We have 5 generations of the workforce, people. The last 2 generations are like, we're done. We are demanding you to make changes, and this is unacceptable. So either you're going to now modify how you do business, how you market to grow, or we ain't gonna see you pretty soon. These legacy brands with their big names, these people who made their millions at the beginning to launch their agencies and stuff, they're not. Who cares? We don't even know who they are anymore. What are you doing? And this may feel like, how does this matter to growth? I said this in a conversation recently, and I'll dive in deeper in a later episode on this. People are missing out on $3.7 trillion in global buying power by BIPOC because they're not creating experiences that reflect and represent them. Instead of launching new MVPs and all this stuff, why don't we just be more inclusive in how we market and our language and who we're trying to expand in our ICP? And we actually might get more business. And the numbers, I believe, are about 5.2 trillion when you include additionally, more specifically, women into the mix and an additional expansion of minorities into that set. So you mean to tell me all these brands out here, all they got to do is be more inclusive in their language and can actually get more buying power and be more well respected instead of just doing the same thing, hoping for more money? Please.
And that brings me to the thinking for our next episode. And it's truly about the authenticity of communities and what we can learn from some of our favorite TV shows. This Is Us and All American. So you got to tune in for it because
I'm not ready.
You have to. A fun fact of that one is that the last episode of This Is Us, Troy and I don't know if you remember this. We went live. We went live on Twitter, and we were like watching it, and we were like sobbing, and we were connecting it to marketing and business. And I feel like that is kind of where our connection all started from. And you have to find that connection within your people that you work with, but also your prospects. You want to have that quote unquote fan base because advocates are going to help you 10 times more than your amazing campaign that you put millions of dollars into. And that's just tea.
I'm going to leave it at that.
We out.
And that wraps up another episode of Unfiltered Growth. Make sure you subscribe, rate,
with 5 stars,
and leave us a review.
Remember, growth doesn't happen in isolation. Join our community of bold thinkers and doers on social media and stay connected.
Don't forget to go to season3media.com/podcast for strategy or event inquiries, resources, or to just chill with us.
Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, embracing diversity, and never stop growing. This is Christina and Troy signing off. And remember,
no filters,
just growth.